start with the top story, which is, of course, I love the way you set the table for this. It was such a wonderful mix of emotions. Like, sports should bring out a lot of emotions, not just one. It should bring out a lot of emotions. This one had it all. And the lead up to this game, I thought was melodramatic. I almost was annoyed at the lead up to this game and the storyline of Klay's return. But the game itself delivered on all of that drama, and it actually was great. And so the first thought was, this was a breakup. And it's rare that you get a breakup with this much tension. And I actually felt like all the things surrounding this game and then the game itself actually had a nice amount of tension to it, like meaningful tension to it. So as much as it was a sweet moment, the return, it was also a bitter moment in that the teams seemed to take this one really, really seriously.
They did. And there's a lot of statements within the game that guys made, right? And some of them were clearly involving the principal characters here that we're talking about, Steph, Draymond, Klay at the top of the list. But then there were other guys too that were impacted by all of this movement and opportunity that they're getting now in places they find themselves in. And, a guy like a Buddy Hield, right? So he's also involved in this because it's like, yeah, okay, you lost Klay, but you got me now, and he's having an incredible year. But let's start with Klay. And beginning of the game was really interesting to me because they did something they haven't done all year. Dallas came down the floor the first 2 or 3 trips, and it was like, we're going to Klay. We're going to isolate Klay. And I thought it was an interesting decision right off the bat. Clearly you want to get him going, but that's not the way to get Klay going. Not at this stage of his career. And so I thought that was unusual for them to kind of do that. It's one thing if Luka is like really just kind of intent on getting Klay some shots, but he's going to operate high ball screen, draw 2, and then hit him with a pass and get him a couple of open threes. They were isolating him like in that weird mid-post area, 15 feet. He was trying to like back guys down. It was a strange start to the game for him. I can only imagine what he was feeling in this moment. And I will say it's Adam, it's a little bit still for me. I'm a guy that I wanted to see Klay Thompson play for the Golden State Warriors his entire career. I wanted to see, not that necessarily he and Steph would have retired together, because you just never know, when they get into their late 30s, who's breaking down physically. So there's no, you can't guarantee they play their last game of their careers together in the same uniform, which would be incredible, right? That'd be epic, but that probably wouldn't happen. But still, the fact that Klay ended up somewhere else, I still think is a little bit sad for me, man, because we don't get it very often that number one, individual players stay with one franchise their entire career, but not pairings like this. 2 guys that's synonymous and linked together for that long in a very particular way, and mainly around shooting. And to split them up was kind of sad. And it, ironically, Klay ends up in a spot where he's going to have an opportunity to contend. And a lot of times that's not the case when guys move on. So that's the first thing that stood out to me, was like, wow, this is weird for Klay. Yeah. And it's got to be such a surreal experience showing up in that building in a different uniform. And the reception was incredible that he got, as you would expect. And he played very well, probably his best game of the year. And he really answered the call there. But at the same time, the whole time I'm watching the game, I'm thinking like, this is really bizarre that this guy's wearing another uniform. And I don't know. I think, there's got to be a great part of sadness on the part of the Golden State Warriors fan base, regardless of how good their season has gone to this point.
There's no question. And that's why it was so bittersweet. And it made me think last night, because I think that in a weird way, this might be it's a top 3 breakup of the 21st century. I think Kobe and Shaq splitting is like, that's always going to be one of the big, 2 players going different directions. You could talk about the Thunder. I want to talk about them in a second, with Durant and Westbrook splitting up. But the new CBA lends itself to breakups. That's the reality of it. If the Warriors couldn't keep it together, and the Warriors reached the highest peak, I think, of the 21st century of any team, they are probably the greatest team in the last 25 years. And if they break up in a way that feels kind of weird and sad, what hope is there for anyone else? And I was sitting here thinking, the new CBA is putting pressure on teams. The Nuggets have a Jokic, Murray, MPJ trio that have been playing together now for 8 years. The Thunder have Shea, Chet, and J-Dub, who you look at and go, okay, they're going to be together forever. You never know. And then you even look at the Celtics with Tatum and Brown. They're a apron team, and you look at that and go, it's hard to envision them separate, but maybe this is the reality. you almost think of breaking up lesser teams or this or that, but iconic teams that you think of as all pieces of a part of a whole, maybe this is the new reality, and we're always going to start seeing these breakups over time.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the way it goes. We'll still get that rare player every now and then that's going to stay with one organization. I don't think Steph Curry will ever play another game in another uniform. And it's early, but I'd say the same thing about Jokic. I don't think Jokic is ever going to play another game. And these guys are rare, man. It's just not the way guys think anymore. Probably true for Giannis. I'm not sure exactly yet, but probably true for him. But I don't know that you can say that about anybody else. And it's just almost like you have to accept going in. That's how it's going to be. So here we go. Klay ends up in another spot. The great part about this for all of us is these, and look, Golden State, this is not just a good start. This is a very good team for a number of reasons. And they might have as many signature wins as any team in the league, or more than any other team in the league with the teams they've beaten. So let's start there.
The top story, which is, of course, I love the way you set the table for this. It was such a wonderful mix of emotions. Like, sports should bring out a lot of emotions, not just one. It should bring out a lot of emotions. This one had it all. And the lead up to this game, I thought, was melodramatic. I almost was annoyed at the lead up to this game and the storyline of Klay's return. But the game itself delivered on all of that drama, and it actually was great. And so the first thought was, this was a breakup. And it's rare that you get a breakup with this much tension. And I actually felt like all the things surrounding this game and then the game itself actually had a nice amount of tension to it, like meaningful tension to it. So as much as it was a sweet moment, the return, it was also a bitter moment in that the teams seemed to take this one really, really seriously.
They did. And there's a lot of statements within the game that guys made, right? And some of them were clearly involving the principal characters here that we're talking about: Steph, Draymond, Klay at the top of the list. But then there were other guys too that were impacted by all of this movement and opportunity that they're getting now in places they find themselves in. And, a guy like a Buddy Hield, right? So he's also involved in this, because it's like, okay, you lost Klay, but you got me now, and he's having an incredible year. But let's start with Klay. And beginning of the game was really interesting to me because they did something they haven't done all year. Dallas came down the floor the first 2 or 3 trips, and it was like, we're going to Klay. We're going to isolate Klay. And I thought it was an interesting decision right off the bat. Clearly you want to get him going, but that's not the way to get Klay going. Not at this stage of his career. And so I thought that was unusual for them to kind of do that. It's one thing if Luka is like really just kind of intent on getting Klay some shots, but he's going to operate high ball screen, draw 2, and then hit him with a pass and get him a couple of open threes. They were isolating him like in that weird mid-post area, 15 feet. He was trying to back guys down. It was a strange start to the game for him. I can only imagine what he was feeling in this moment. And I will say, it's Adam, it's a little bit still for me. I'm a guy that I wanted to see Klay Thompson play for the Golden State Warriors his entire career. I wanted to see, not that necessarily he and Steph would have retired together, because you just never know, when they get into their late 30s, who's breaking down physically. So there's no, you can't guarantee they play their last game of their careers together in the same uniform, which would be incredible, right? That'd be epic. But that probably wouldn't happen. But still, the fact that Klay ended up somewhere else, I still think is a little bit sad for me, man, because we don't get it very often that, number one, individual players stay with one franchise their entire career, but not pairings like this. 2 guys that synonymous and linked together for that long in a very particular way, and mainly around shooting. And to split them up was kind of sad. And it, ironically, Klay ends up in a spot where he's going to have an opportunity to contend. And a lot of times that's not the case when guys move on. So that's the first thing that stood out to me, was like, wow, this is weird for Klay. And it's got to be such a surreal experience showing up in that building in a different uniform. And the reception was incredible that he got, as you would expect. And he played very well, probably his best game of the year. And he really answered the call there. But at the same time, the whole time I'm watching the game, I'm thinking, like, this is really bizarre that this guy's wearing another uniform. And I don't know. I think, there's got to be a great part of sadness on the part of the Golden State Warriors fan base, regardless of how good their season has gone to this point.
There's no question, and that's why it was so bittersweet. And it made me think last night, because I think that there's no question, and that's why it was so bittersweet. And it made me think last night, because I think that in a weird way, this might be it's a top 3 breakup of the 21st century. I think Kobe and Shaq splitting is like, that's always going to be one of the big, 2 players going different directions. You could talk about the Thunder. I want to talk about them in a second with Durant and Westbrook splitting up. But the new CBA lends itself to breakups. That's the reality of it. If the Warriors couldn't keep it together, and the Warriors reached the highest peak, I think, of the 21st century of any team, they are probably the greatest team in the last 25 years. And if they break up in a way that feels kind of weird and sad, what hope is there for anyone else? And I was sitting here thinking, the new CBA is putting pressure on teams. The Nuggets have a Jokic, Murray, MPJ trio that have been playing together now for 8 years. The Thunder have Shea, Chet, and J-Dub, who you look at and go, okay, they're going to be together forever. You never know. And then you even look at the Celtics with Tatum and Brown. They're a apron team, and you look at that and go, it's hard to envision them separate, but maybe this is the reality. You almost think of breaking up lesser teams or this or that, but iconic teams that you think of as all pieces of a part of a whole, maybe this is the new reality, and we're always going to start seeing these breakups over time.
Yeah, I think that is going to be the way it goes. We'll still get that rare player every now and then that's going to stay with one organization. I don't think Steph Curry will ever play another game in another uniform. And it's early, but I'd say the same thing about Jokic. I don't think Jokic is ever going to play another game. And these guys are rare, man. It's just not the way guys think anymore. Probably true for Giannis. I'm not sure exactly yet, but probably true for him. But I don't know that you can say that about anybody else. And it's just almost like you have to accept going in. That's how it's going to be. So here we go. Klay ends up in another spot. The great part about this for all of us is and look, Golden State, this is not just a good start. This is a very good team for a number of reasons. And they might have as many signature wins as any team in the league, or more than any other team in the league with the teams they've beaten. So let's start there.
To beat you, and no matter the setting, and these guys are professional athletes. They're on a whole other level when it comes to being psychotic, competitive people. So yeah, it lived up to the hype. You also had like a good Luka game in the mix here too. I know it took one of those weird, questionable Luka threes again late. Like the Mavs have dropped 3 in a row here, 1-possession games against really good teams that could have all gone their way, but ultimately were all losses. But he played a good game overall. People they raised the bar here. I don't know if it was the Klay return or was it the NBA Cup floor.
That's an interesting part. Yes, the Warriors finished this off. Wiggins guarding Luka looked great. Yep. Anthony Melton looked great on the floor with Steph and Draymond, who picked it up. Yeah, post this Warriors dynasty, like Trey mentioned off the top, Pippen leaving the Bulls, Parker leaving the Spurs. You don't see post-peak dynasty to have this type of one guy leaves and come back to have such a great rivalry like that. You just don't see it, this great game. So maybe it is the NBA Cup. Maybe it is this floor, which I want to get Trey's opinion on, because we're all looking at the 30 new floors online, and then we're like, okay, let's see them.
See them in action.
So, I thought the Warriors one was pretty good from here, but it's another different step to be in person. How was it in person, Trey?
If you don't want people complaining about your NBA Cup court, make it gray.
Yeah.
It just looks like a normal court, honestly. Like, it looks like there's obviously a lot going on these courts. I was talking with
podcast here. I have some opinions on those ones, but I said this off the top. I slipped it in. Why don't you have a Captain Klay Thomas hat? I mean, were these just for the fans, or do you have one in your bag? It's already ready to go and come back to Atlanta. What do you got?
These hats were too hard to get, Skeets.
Wow.
I mean, they gave out literally thousands of them. I think the number was probably like 15,000, right? The arena holds like 20,000 when you factor in the employees and stuff who definitely had the hats. But I haven't seen this many hats since we used to go to the boat to do yacht rocks. Every single person in the arena was wearing their hats. I saw people that came in wearing like their own, Warriors hat, with that hat and then the captain's hat thrown on top of it. I was watching the game just thinking, I don't know how easy it is to do like a gimmick hat giveaway. This was kind of perfect that you've got a guy known for riding a boat that wore a captain's hat to a championship parade. That doesn't come around all that often. But if you can find a way to give away hats that aren't just a standard baseball cap, it looks incredible. Like it was 100% buy-in. It felt like from the fans wearing these captain's hats, and that's why people weren't going to give them up. I did ask my seatmate next to me, "Hey, can I please hold your captain's hat to take a meager photo?" Luckily, he blessed me and then put it right back on his head.
Yeah, we always make fun of teams and how they just give too much back to their players. Like sometimes a guy goes there for 2 years and then there's a video tribute, that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's all been done. It felt like until you see all the employees here in Chase Center greet Klay coming in wearing boat hats.
Yeah, and saluting them to him was my favorite part. Both the organization and the fans. Everybody saluting their sailor caps.
Yeah, just to do it. Klay couldn't help but get emotionally involved. Like Trey said off the top, he tried to keep it cool, but he couldn't. You see all those people as you come in, and then the tribute as you're on the floor. He couldn't help but get involved, even though he's the coolest dude, and he keeps his emotions away from the floor. The way that they did it extremely well. Other than not giving Trey a hat, unfortunately. But the Yacht Rock Review, the band who plays on a boat, they're playing in Atlanta soon. I just saw it. You just inspired me, Trey, to go see them again. I mean, they kill it.
Well, if you want to buy one of these Captain Klay hats, they're on eBay right now for $300.
Oh, yeah?
People are selling them for a pretty penny right now. I'm sure that will go down. Give it some time, and maybe you can get your hands on one. Any other thoughts, TK, from obviously a really entertaining game and a unique game, because this really was an unprecedented celebration for a former player who left the franchise. And, dollars came into play here. But anything else we're missing or anything from the arena itself?
I just thought it was super impressive what the Warriors did, going out of their way to put the last couple of years of Klay Thompson's career with the Warriors behind them, because obviously there has been drama in that locker room the past couple of years. First it was the Jordan Poole year, then last year it was Klay's contract and what was going to happen with him hanging over the franchise. It would have been easy for this to go poorly. I think we've seen that in the past with players choosing to leave a team they've been with for a long time and coming back, but the Warriors and the organization clearly did not want that to be the case. They wanted Klay to come in and feel like he was still at home, part of the team, and there was definitely that feeling. And the other note I had, Tass, I'm glad you mentioned it, man. I couldn't help but thinking of you, seeing DeAnthony Melton out there. I was like, man, Tass must be...
The arena was amazing. Hell yeah. I never seen anything like that. Even when they called his name, bro, everybody got the sailor hats on and all that shit. The captain hats, but it was crazy. That was a different kind of vibe in there.
For sure. Would y'all rather him got booed yesterday, or are you happy that he got the love that he received yesterday?
He deserved all that love.
For sure.
He did too much for that franchise, bro. Yeah. It was well deserved.
Most definitely. Listen, man, let me get through the stats. Klay did this thing yesterday, probably his best game. Had 22, was going crazy. Kyrie 22, Luka 31. But it did not matter because when Steph Curry decided to play basketball, shit got spooky. Light 37 yesterday, including the last 12 of the game to ice the game, dog. Like we was talking about yesterday. When Steph started playing basketball, everybody else forget what they doing.
Yeah, his energy was different to start the game. I seen when he fouled Klay, I think that was like, all right, we're going to let you get your first 2 points so you can get him out the way. He just fouled him on purpose. Got his 2 free throws, and then it was up after that.
Very disrespectful, man.
Nah, I think Steph a dog. We was talking before the show. We might have to throw Nasty up there in the MVP talks, man.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, because he's willing to trash team, bro, to these victories and this.
Why they gotta be trash, man?
Bro, they weak, bro. I love Draymond. Draymond, you still family, but y'all trash, bro. And he turning y'all up to like them 2015 Hawks, man. So y'all,
fuck out of here.
Y'all up to a hell of a start, man. You looking like one of them ones still in the NBA at your big age, 36.
We gotta talk about Draymond though, for real. Like he really gonna be up there for Defensive Player of the Year. Like watching him play last night. I watched the Warriors play a little bit, but watching Draymond, he back to his old ways, man. He really taking over games on the defensive end, like eliminating people. And he did a hell of a job last night playing at the 5.
Straight up.
For a lot of the game, he was at the 5, playing small ball 5. So he's a different level of defender. Him and Steph got that chemistry that you can't deny, like coming off them pick and rolls and shit. So they might be a tough out, for real.
Most definitely. And we always talk about this. If you got Steph Curry in the playoffs, you got to beat him 4 times. That's a tough feat to do.
Yeah.
And to show Draymond some love yesterday, if you look at the stats, even if you're watching the game blindly, Their bigs lively, you know what I'm saying? Typically, they go crazy.
Yeah.
That wasn't happening yesterday. Like you said, rotate. They take that switch away. It got ugly.
Yeah.
Nah. They got to a good start, man. Shout out to the Warriors. It's early.
Like you said, we got to put Steph in the MVP conversation. Bro.
Nah, but you do, though.
We got to at this point.
You do.
Because nobody expected this team to be as good as they are right now. I mean, we call Steve Kerr cat for saying it's one of the deepest teams he's had. But if you look at the stats, even the distribution down for the team, everybody's contributing, whether they getting 20 minutes or 10 minutes. So you got to show some.
Yeah, just
okay.
I think Steph was just on the mode that he wanted to make sure Klay. He was happy that Klay had a good game, but he wanted to show, like you seen it in his last shot when he hit that dagger 3. Like you didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
Like he wanted to make sure y'all know this is still my shit. Like Klay, all right, he gone, but I'm here, so we always good.
Facts.
And it looked like that. Like they playing like that. Like all right, Klay might have been holding them back last year. To be honest.
And you talked about addition to Buddy Hield this year. I mean, obviously he's not Klay, but what he's given to this team is the same contributions for the last 2 years. Is that good night, go to sleep celebration, the most disrespectful celebration of basketball right now?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Because the moments that he does that be like crazy, bro. Like what he did in the Olympics was so disrespectful to do that shit, bro.
But I don't think it's disrespectful because people know what it is when it comes to him.
It's still disrespectful. It's amazing.
It's not an average player doing that. So
I think we give Steph too much like leeway. Like he talks shit. Like he's talking shit, really. Like all this shit. I told y'all I had yank his little ass up one time. Hey, don't be doing that shit in front of me, nigga. We supposed to be cool.
Nah, he was trying to show you, like, bro, have some swag about you, bro. That's it.
Nah, bro, that's disrespectful. That's why now people finally see it when he do it. When he hit Klay with it at the end after he hit the dagger 3, then tell you, nigga, this my shit. Yeah, that's the real Steph Curry. He talk shit.
You didn't want to be here.
Yeah.
I mean, I fool with it. Like, you know what I mean? Down, bro. That's all I'm saying. Like, who you rather talk shit to you, Luka or Steph?
Nah, I'd rather Luka talk shit to me because he ain't won nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he killed everybody. Oh, well, Steph wins. So when you start talking back to him, he get to doing this and shit. Like,
oh, yeah, throwing up the game.
Yeah, it's over with.
They was mad at Klay for doing that. They was like, Klay his ass. He was like, but I got 4.
Yeah.
They up there.
You can't say nothing about that.
How do they fare as the best backcourt ever? Where would y'all put them?
Best backcourt?
Mm-hmm. Not the chapter ranking, but would you put them in the top 5, top 3?
I don't know. What are we basing this off of? Because I know I just do strictly just killers, hoopers.
Whatever. You can go championships, hoop. I take all into account for me.
They in the top 5, I guess. I'll give you that.
They in my top 3. I dare say top 2.
I don't even know no backcourts really when I think about it. Shit, who was it? Me, Kyle Korver.
That 2015, they beat the 2015 Hawks?
Right for Austin, AO.
Hey, that's a hell of a comparison.
Hot sauce and headache. Who was on the Harlem Globetrotters?
First team all and one is crazy.
I'm gonna try to think though. Who was a fire backcourt though?
I like Tim Hardaway and Mitch.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna take
TMC.
I'm gonna take Klay and Steph over them.
Most definitely.
Let's see, backcourt. I don't know.
Matter
bro,
of fact, you know what?
Usually the point guard be so dominant.
Yeah, and the 2
guard.
I mean,
Steph Curry. I mean, James Harden, CP would have been nice, but that ain't work out too well. I mean, they were hoping when they was there, but they ain't win nothing.
I don't think neither one of these people are necessarily stars, but underrated backcourt. Even though he came off the bench was Ginobili and TP, because that was successful for a long time.
Yeah, that's a good backcourt.
Yeah, they won.
In the comments, drop some of y'all favorite backcourts. We'll talk about it at the end of the show for sure. But before we get off this Warriors topic, Steve Kerr, a lot of flack for what he did at the Olympics, but they killed him.
So Draymond came up big on the defensive side of the ball, playing the small ball 5 for most of the game, finishing with 11 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Klay had 22 points in 34 minutes of action, 7 for 17 from the field, but 6 for 12 from deep. Luka led the Mavs with 31 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. Kyrie had 21 and 6 dimes. So after the game, Steph and Klay reflected on their first meeting as opponents, and Steph shed some light on how he felt after Klay did his shimmy.
We know how much respect you have for Klay, but when he did the shimmy, you're waiting to check in, we're shaking your head. What were you thinking when you saw him pull that off?
He knows better than that.
Damn.
Well, it was fun to match up with Steph. I mean, we guarded each other plenty of times in practice with Team USA camps and All-Star games, so a real competitive NBA game. It was pretty surreal, but after a few minutes, it was just basketball. And then, it hurts to be on the other side of one of his flurries. Guy got hot at the end and made some ridiculous shots. I know I've been on the other end and it sucks. But like I said before, I think we play them 3 more times, so hopefully we can learn from it and learn their tendencies a little better. But sucks because this was a big game for the Cup.
So you gotta learn their tendencies a little better.
He did his job though. He did teaching them their tendencies.
He got to do better?
Yeah.
Because he said he was going to talk to Jason Kidd, talk to the team, break down all the information he knew, old playbooks.
Lively, get your ass up on the pick and roll, bro. What are you doing?
But why are they still going under screens?
Yeah, what are you going under for?
Why?
Man, get over here, push him to the lane. He got to shoot floaters all night long.
Understand. Then you leave your boy on the island. Why?
All night. Step back.
Why?
Splash.
Stupid.
Emotional game, obviously. Splash Brothers on different teams. But what's your biggest takeaway from the Warriors' late comeback win over the Mavs in their NBA Cup opener? Lexa, we'll start with you on this side of the couch. Nice to see you over here.
I know. I feel like I'm lonely over here.
It's okay.
I learned that it's still Steph's team, always been Steph's team. But again, the way the Mavericks defended him in those last 3 minutes was unacceptable, I think. Going under screens, kind of dying on screens and just letting their bigs just fend for themselves in those moments. You're not going to let Steph go put your big on an island, step back 3, and then the arena goes crazy. The game is over at that point. So I don't think it was what Golden State did. It was more of what Dallas didn't do because that game was super winnable for them.
Very winnable game. Like I said, 7-point lead with a little over 4 minutes remaining. Then they let Steph go on one of those flurries that Klay used to be a part of. But let's take it over this side. Cemetery Larry, what was your biggest takeaway from the Warriors comeback win over the Mavs?
That the Mavs still don't have late game sense of urgency. They don't play with a certain type of aggressive attention to detail. Like she said, dying on screens is unacceptable with 3 minutes left. And that's the thing I think with OKC that they don't have, that Dallas does have, is the lack of, they want to stop you in the last 2 minutes. They want to get that stop. I think Dallas still has a hard time focusing on that. It's unfortunate, but if they dying on screens and doing shit like that, it ain't never gonna get over the hump.
Very unfortunate, especially for us Warriors haters out there. Didn't get what we
kept bringing
wanted.
Luka. They just kept screening away until Luka got on Steph, and then they brought the big up.
But it ain't even Luka or anybody else. It's the bigs, literally.
It's
unfair matchup, but you still got to know tendencies.
Yeah.
Push them to the rim.
Push them to the rim.
So like we said, emotional game. Obviously, Klay coming back. Whole crowd was into it. Everybody had the captain hats for Captain Klay. Steph guarded Klay for a lot of that game.
That's where they fucked the game up. The game was over then. And this is why there's certain personalities that need to be on the bench because certain type of people understand what needs to be done. Steph is their best player. He showed it at the end. That was Olympic Steph, right? His new name, fuck that Steph Curry, that was when he was young. This is the puppet master at this point. He's considered a puppet master, the way he just dictates players' movement when he has the ball. To prevent that, at the 11:45 mark in the first quarter would have stopped that moment right there. They posted up Klay. Curry got a foul with 15 seconds into the game.
That he did.
Old school basketball would have ran whatever played 2, 3, 4, 5. That is all abort. Curry just got a foul on Klay right here. He is a target match now. That means Klay, go back again. Klay, go, as long as he's go back again. Go. Our job that whole quarter is to get him his second foul. Now, if he gets his second foul, he has to sit, and then he probably won't come back until the end of the second quarter. Same thing, get him his next foul, so he goes into halftime with 3 fouls. Now, if he gets a foul in the beginning of the third, he's done. We don't have to see Steph until the fourth quarter, which he's gonna come in at the top of the fourth with 2 fouls to go. He gets his fifth, he's gonna have to sit to come back in with the last 3 minutes. That's how you're supposed to play that game. Once he got his first foul, whatever your game plan was, you abort that shit. It's now. He can't afford to get another foul in that quarter. Right? I don't care if he got it, you tripped in this, run it again. My job right now is to get him his second foul. I don't give a, there's nothing else that's important. If Shaq get a foul with 15 seconds left, 15 in the quarter, motherfucker, I'm trying to take charge. Hey, take a charge. Don't even try to block his shit. Take a charge, hit him, let him hit you back. He's running down the court. We trying to stand in front of him. We want his second foul so we don't have to guard him anymore. But only a scorer would know something like that. There's no way in God's green earth, if Steph would have fouled Kobe would have shot the next 15, 20 shots trying to get him his next foul. Because how's Curry gonna have to play him? You're not gonna be aggressive. You're gonna back up, do this. All right, shot. He gonna stay on the ground on all shots. If you got a foot in front of him, he's gonna let you go.
I don't know, but how long do you do that before it starts like disrupting Dallas. Like, I know you're trying to get Steph in foul trouble, but it's like he's smart enough to stay.
I wouldn't do that. I run offense that's going to
just score.
Put in situations for Steph to either switch guys that aren't normally going to be on the scores, or Steph's going to have to give up easy twos. He had to give up easy points. We put him in situations where the players don't have to dictate breaking the play. We're going to run the play specifically for this. And I think the coaches.
Nigga, that's what I just said.
I know
that's
that.
one. Oh, okay. No, I thought you said I wouldn't do that. Then you just said everything you
not necessarily,
Oh, well, she said.
I'm
sorry.
Not necessarily Klay, but just getting Steph posted up.
You and Shot are on this side of the couch. You
No, all I heard is I wouldn't do that.
So much competition with me.
I heard you said I wouldn't do that.
see what I'm saying? I be trying to be on everybody's team, man. But I get it.
Well, yeah, no, if anybody posting up, then yeah, I get it.
Yeah, man. The coach, it's up to the coach, man. Like I get what you're saying. Like, the players should recognize it and do what they need to do, but sometimes the coach needs to just put the fucking plays in that's gonna put pressure on the players that got fouls like that. It shouldn't have to be, we got it. We gonna. Coach already know. Like, no, he in foul trouble. We going right at him. But Jason Kidd used to do that by himself. Lawrence didn't have to tell him. He would do it. He's like, oh, no, run it again.
Run it again. That's what I'm saying. It's like, how you got an old school coach who literally did that?
It's crazy, bro. It's weird.
Like, I got an offensive foul in the first. Like, God damn. The next play Jason Kidd is running is a drop for himself.
Yes. With Richard and fucking Vince.
He gonna drop it. If I'm playing it right, he gonna call for a screen right there on the block.
Yep.
Do a pick and roll, how y'all play it.
Easy.
He gonna pump fake to see if I'm gonna jump. If I jump, he gonna try to get that foul. Like,
you would think.
Sam Cassell, he used to target me.
Yeah.
I never got out of the first quarter without 2 fouls. Every time.
Man.
Every time.
Man.
Like, I used to just hate, like, I don't want to guard him. Like, here, now bring him over here, pick, switch it, come on, here we go.
You would think.
They'd be like, foul one.
With Luka and Kyrie being as good as they are one-on-one, they get every single guard in foul trouble every game. First line, back line. Both of them 2 fouls each. First half. Because you can't guard me. But I don't see
Sometimes I feel like Kyrie, he's too fast sometimes. He gets a lot of those fouls by the bigs.
Yeah.
He just gets right past that first line, and he gets fouled by
They should be dangerous.
Yeah,
they should be. If they can play defense, they'll be dangerous.
Man, but that was the only takeaway I see.
And which team needs to be in panic mode? Klay return. You know, it was a big hype around Klay. The Warriors gave everybody in attendance a captain's hat for Klay's return. You know, I think that was a great tribute video, which he well deserved. But y'all got the dub, right? Steph got hot in the fourth. I know you and Klay and like, man, let's kick that off. What was that like?
Man, Steph was on 10 the whole time. And you knew it right away when they tried to post him up, very first play, and he fouled Klay. And that's one of the ones where, like, he knew it right away that it was a bad foul. He didn't care. He didn't think anything of it. He was so overzealous to get the stop. And so, and so that play, you know, like, all right, it's a little, you know what I'm saying? It's a little testy. The very next play, they try to run the same play again. And my man's in the corner. So I try to bump him out to Najee Marshall, like, yo, bump, I'm here. So I can switch and guard the post. He totally ignored me. Hey, so I run all the way over there to bump him.
He didn't get the script. He didn't get the script.
I have to run all the way back to the other side of the paint to guard my man because he won't bump out. And sure enough, you know, he get the next couple stops and he dialed in, man. And I knew, you know, I knew he'd be dialed in. You know, I'm gonna keep it G with you. I watched Klay's interview leading up to it, all of them. I read all the quotes. I watched any interview I could find. And I watched Steph interviews leading up to it. Now, mind you, when they asked me the other day at OKC, I totally ignored the question. I'm like, we got an NBA Cup game.
Yeah.
And that's what Thursday is about. I mean, not Thursday. That's what whatever day of the week it was.
Monday.
It's
Monday, Tuesday.
It's the NBA
Wednesday.
season. It's groundhog day.
The next game.
Absolutely. And so I'm like that's what it is. And I completely ignored the question.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw Steph's answer. And I saw Klay's answer. And then I saw Steph's answer. And it was a little sentimental. And I'm like, all right. And then I see Steph speak on somewhere different. And it was a little more sentimental. And I go look at Klay stuff and I'm like, all right. So finally, yesterday morning, I text Steph. And I text him like, hey, listen here, big dog. I need you to be locked in. Whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that you need to do, if that's watch this tribute video, before we actually see it go up on the board, whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that your emotions are where they need to be. So we dialed in. I said, I'm gonna do the same. And so I hit double R, Raymond Ritter, and I said, Ray, I need to see that tribute video. And Ray sent it to me. And I watched the tribute video and I was like, all right. So I got it out.
Yeah.
And Steph got it. So by the time Steph come in the game last night, he pissed. I didn't call. As soon as I texted him, he called me right away. So I didn't try to stir the pot a little bit, baby. I'm stirring the pot. Ain't no, oh, my splash brother. Nah.
Nah.
I'm stirring the pot.
We the ops. We the ops.
Hey, so I pissed Steph off. He like, yeah. I talked to Klay last night about, he was like, because Steph was supposed to speak before I just need to lock in on the game. So I ain't speaking. And I talked to Klay about it. Tried to check in with Klay on something else, and Klay ghosted him. So he got pissed. And here we go. Here we go.
That's why he was on 10. That's why at the end of the game, hey, bro, that end of the game, that was almost like the Olympic shot. You feel me?
Man,
like, he was on, even after the game, after y'all shook hands, it was like, what was that feeling like? Because, it's so much emotions, bro. That, Klay is legacy brother, almighty, you know what I mean? Absolutely. Hall of Famer. And that, y'all connection, you know what I mean? That's the first time, we've been able to see the not connection. You know what I mean?
You know what's crazy? Steph said to me right away, he was like, yo, we had Andre when he left and he came back, and like, KD's kind of never really materialized. Like, it was so many years in between him actually coming back and play here from when he left, that it was kind of never really, that. He was like, but we ain't had nothing like this. Steph was locked in so crazy. He was like, but it's nuts because Klay was locked in too. He said, when I saw how all three of y'all were able to lock in on that game,
that's how y'all know how y'all won that championship.
He said it makes so much sense. He said these people had to deal with three of y'all like that.
Yeah.
He said it makes so much sense when I watch how all three of y'all was locked in.
It's levels to it.
Absolutely. And saying that, so knowing that and understanding that, like, the night couldn't have gone better and it couldn't have been a better feeling for us. It's us two still holding it down. Still holding the fort down.
Oh, geez. Holding the block down.
You know what I'm saying? And to know, like, hey, he ain't with us no more. That felt good. And so, like I said, the night could not have gone any better. When you talk about NBA script writers, as the people say on Twitter and Instagram.
No, that was perfect setup.
That script, Klay Thompson played great. Incredible. And they lost. That's how we needed the night to go. And so when Steph had those moments, though, when he, like, locked into the moment and he gets talking his shit.
He gonna start, boop. He gonna start, because Steph came out talking shit. Then Klay hit him with the shimmy. Then Klay caught fire. And then you see Steph over there, he hot. You know what I mean? And then and back to the intensity, like, Klay's intensity up Dallas level. I don't even think the Mavericks seen something like that. You know what I mean? And so, like, watching how you and Steph were on this side, Moody got off. You know what I mean? Moody was balling. Buddy was balling. Everybody.
Melton was balling.
Melton was balling. Looney played big. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
offensive rebounds.
Come on, dude.
Is crazy.
Come on, dude. That's the UCLA Bruin right there. Yes, and then my dog, defensive player of the year. We on that track. Let's talk about these stats: 11.7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Even Steph, he talked about it after the game. He said, man, you put on a master class on the defensive end. I would agree to that, especially the block on Daniel Gafford. That saved a big shot. You know what I mean? You was the plug. You know what I mean? You was the plug all night. Man, just talk about, I want to like, what was it? You know what I mean? Like, you starting to look and feel young again, bro. What is it?
I feel incredible, bro. I'm in the best shape I've been in years. I'm as focused as I've been in years. Like, I'm so dialed in on these moments, man. Like, just enjoying playing the game. You know what I'm saying? Just enjoying going out there and grinding, knowing that we've been counted out. We the underdogs. Like, it feels good to be the underdog again.
Yeah.
My whole life. It is the entire package. On ball, off ball. Start with off ball right here. He's going to set a cross screen, but look at how he creates 2 steps of space. He's always moving. Look at this little nudge to Najee Marshall right there before he comes off a down screen. That right there creates 2 steps of separation before he even flies off this down screen as is. So Najee Marshall has 0 chance of getting over the screen. Steph Curry creates his own shoot around. In transition, he is such a terror in transition on the pull-up. Look at how many bodies he draws. Luka Doncic stepping up to take the ball. Gafford trying to come over to help. Even Najee Marshall's going to come over and help at the end. He's drawing 1, 2, 3 Mavericks players in transition, and it's just easy. Who wants to run their lane and cut? Wiggins, 2. He is the only player in the NBA that if you are a half step late in getting over to guard, he will cook you with a bevy of moves. Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, some miscommunication, both end up going to Andrew Wiggins. So Steph Curry relocates to the corner. Kyrie Irving's 1 step late. You're already done. In this situation, it's just an easy pump fake. Run him off the line. 2. The most unguardable play in basketball is a Steph Curry pick and roll. You can't run drop coverage or you're giving up open threes. But if you come trap him, now Draymond Green's roll's wide open and the Warriors have a numbers advantage and you're still going to only give up a wide open three or a layup. So in this case, Quentin Grimes, they're not trapping him. Quentin Grimes is going to go under the screen to delay Draymond Green's roll right here. So what do the Warriors do? They go under so Draymond Green's roll's not available. Draymond Green now is just going to set a second screen and twist and Steph Curry's going to come off it. And guess what? Steph Curry just creates his own version of shoot-around by constantly moving. He comes off one ball screen right here. Doesn't like the look he gets. Spencer Dinwiddie fights over the top. So now he's just going to swing it to Kevon Looney, and he's just flying off this second ball screen right here. Spencer Dinwiddie for just a second takes a nap. Steph Curry's flying off this ball screen. Now look at Dinwiddie. No chance to get over this screen right here. He creates shoot-arounds for himself. You just simply cannot guard a Steph Curry pick and roll. Now the Mavericks are going to try and switch. Well, Derek Lively's now stuck on an island with Steph Curry. So all he's got to do is take 2-3 solid dribbles downhill and get Derek Lively backpedaling. Whoops. Now we're going to come back fake like we're taking a step back three. When we fake that step back three, now Derek Lively has to come up to contest, and when that happens, now we're just going to cook him downhill. Look, get Derek Lively leaving his feet to contest, now you just get downhill, open jumper. All of these open looks get created because of Steph Curry's brilliance. Off ball here, out of a baseline, out of bounds. Look at how tight Steph Curry comes off this screen. Draymond Green setting this down screen. He is giving no airspace for Quentin Grimes to get over the screen. He rubs shoulders with Draymond Green. The defender has no choice. Look at that. He's rubbing shoulders with Draymond Green coming off the screen. The defender has no chance whatsoever of not going clank right into the screen. Look at that, rubbing shoulders with Draymond Green. Look at how tight he comes off that screen. So now Najee Marshall has to step up and help, and now you just drop it off.
With the Golden State Warriors, and he got the welcome home that a captain deserves.
Let's extend our captain hats to the four-time Warriors champion. He's back.
So Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, the hug today we'd all been waiting for, but let's get to the game action because that's what Klay said he wanted to do. He knows these nets very well.
Oh, he does. And y'all, you saw the hug, but that did not last long. He started doing Steph's moves after he knocked down a couple threes. And what did Steph say? Let me hold up here.
He said, not so fast. Hey, Klay, you want to try to guard me? Remember, I can do this too.
And what, son?
I mean, one of the most underrated finishers at the basket that don't get enough praise is Steph Curry.
Also one of the most underrated trash talkers, as you saw right there.
Right, you were in the building for this one. This one got good down the stretch. Klay Thompson there pulling up for three, and then the Mavericks, again, feeding Klay, gets that one to go as well. What were you seeing in this moment?
Yeah, it seemed like it might be a storybook type return for Klay Thompson. You know how bad he wanted to win it. He put the Mavericks in position, except for the Warriors still have this.
So then, Tim, does that make Steph Curry the villain of the story?
I don't think he can ever be the villain in the Bay, particularly when he's pulling off shots like this. Steph Curry, though,
he was
said,
very
all right,
bad, girl. He was bad.
We're creating a little separation here, but I know my splash brother, and he's going to come back. You need to put a little icing on this one, Perk.
Oh, absolutely. Again, hey. Didn't even comment on it.
Dancing like he knew it was Perk's 40th birthday. Steph going to work. Once he got that switch on Lively, you knew today it was going to be night. Steph Curry, we can't, is he saying this is my ish here? We're not professional lip readers on this show.
That's the Steph the NBA knows.
Yeah, that is the Steph that fans love as well. Let's take a listen to Klay Thompson on his return.
And Steph Curry, I knew you had those green eyes for a reason because you was a demon last night. And listen,
is that why you wore green today?
Absolutely, demon time, baby, demon time.
Because his approach to that game, and I watched it from start to finish, I said to myself, he want this game so bad. I never seen Steph Curry play with this much passion in a regular season game. When he scored and took over that fourth quarter, I think it was 12 straight or something to that nature, I was like, oh yeah. When he looked into the camera, the vein popping out his neck, I said, oh yeah, this
not the vein.
Yeah, it was. The vein.
Look, and you saw the kind of competitiveness between brothers, between Splash Brothers. But look, Klay Thompson did not want some warm, fuzzy experience going back to the Warriors. We all understand kind of the hard feelings, how uncomfortable, how awkward, how miserable he was last year. But you saw that thought. He walks in, you've got 400 employees wearing the captain's hat, lining the hallways. This was over an hour before tip-off when he's getting a reception during warm-ups. Video, and he texted Steph the night before, asked him, hey, let's not do that speech, because he didn't want to cry. He did not want to get emotional. But he thought a little bit to the Warriors.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I could see the tier on TV, but Tim being in the building, you could see that type of detail up close.
Look, I was not in the building, but I was glued to the screen. Yes. This was, popcorn. This was box office. This was vintage Warriors basketball. And I say it on both ends because we got a Steph Curry flurry. We got Draymond having a tremendous game, blocking things from left, right, and center. And then, of course, we got Klay Thompson shooting streaky threes, 6 of them. But to me, it was the last 12 points that Perk alluded to. He was slicing and dicing the Dallas Mavericks. He was looking for those switches. He was hunting those mismatches. He was not settling from three. What I love is that Steph, hey, he's been asked to do a little bit less. His minutes are a little bit down, but still, he shows up in these moments because he's got that dog in him. He's got that competitive fire. Don't let that baby face fool you. He showed everyone that I'm still that guy. Yeah. To me, it was a win-win. Klay played well because that was a difficult circumstance to be able to handle your emotions. Yep. But also, Steph reminded people that I can carry this team too. I'm still trying to process.
So are we done asking questions then? I know, for now, right? Because the Golden State Warriors, they go in, they beat Boston in a game that I don't think any of us picked them to be able to win. And then maybe, okay, perfect. His predictions this year were perfect. Then